Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Ramagatasya. Thanks for taking the time to hearing our presentation. Today I want to share a bit about the Romantic literature. What is Romantic literature? Romantic literature was a literary movement that flourished in Europe and America from the late 18th century to the mid 19th century. It was a reaction to the Age of Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution. Romantic literature celebrated the individual, nature, and emotion, and rejected tradition and reason. And this is several characteristics from the Romantic literature. The first one is nature. Romantics celebrate nature's awe-inspiring power or the sublime. Then, individualism. Romantics celebrate the individual and their unique perspective. The third is emotion. Romantics value emotion, intuition, and imagination over reason. And number 4 is subversion. Some romantic works were subversive and salacious. Number 5, experimentation. Romantics experimented with form, genre, and decorum. And number 6 is inspiration. Romantics drew inspiration from nature, for folk literature, mythology, and children's literature. The definition of the Romantic literature. Romanticism attitude or intellectual orientation is that characterized many works of literature, painting, music, architecture, criticism, and historiography in Western civilization over a period from the late 18th to the mid-19th century. Romanticism can be seen as rejection of the precept of order, calm, harmony, balance, idealization, and rationality that typified classicism in general and late 18th century neoclassicism in particular. It was also to some extent a reaction against the Enlightenment and against 18th century rationalism and physical materialism in general. Romanticism emphasized the individual, the subjective, the irrational, the imaginative, the personal, the spontaneous, the emotional, the visionary, and the transcendental. Among the characteristic attitude of Romanticism were the following: a deep appreciation of the beauties of nature, a general exaltation of emotion, of reason, and of the sense over intellect, a turning in upon the self, and a heightened examination of human personality and its moods and mental potentialities. A preoccupation with the genius, the hero, and the exceptional figure in general, and a focus on his or her passions and inner struggles. A new view of the artist as a supremely individual creator was creative. Spirit is more important than strict adherence to formal rules and traditional procedures. And besides, human imagination as a gateway to transcendent experience and spiritual truth, and obsessive interest in folk culture, national and ethnic culture origins at the medieval era, and a predilection for the exotic, the remote, the mysterious, the weird, the occult, the monstrous, the disease, and even the satanic. And this is historical and political background of the Romantic literature. At the onset of the German Romantic movement, the political map of Germany represented an unusual configuration of multiple federations under the nominal suzerainty of the Holy Roman Empire. German territories constitute a diverse assemblage of states with different political and cultural institutions and practices, economies, and religious professions. Writing in Zurgedicht, The Religion on Philosophia in Dutchland, on the History of Religion and Philosophy in Germany, as late as 1835. Heinrich Heine, in 1797 until 1856, remarks that the only unity a political and religiously fragmented Germany possesses consists in its literary language. As created in Martin Luther's masterly Bible translation, the titular political protection and the juridical framework of the empire made it possible for a diverse group of principalities to coexist without being taken over by more powerful neighboring or rival states. This pattern of territorial power and the decentralization of political rules encouraged a practice of absolutist rule by individual princes who were not accountable to a parliament or an estate. The political landscape was a mosaic of medieval remnants reminiscent of feudal administrative machinery. Seen in the historical continuum, the ascendant of territorial power was set in motion by the cumulative socio-economic consequences of the 30 Years' War in 1918 until 1948, and the succession wars that followed it. The way that led the 30 Years' War was in turn paved by the political destabilization that accompanied that Protestant Revolution. The Catholic Emperor was unable to stop the conversion of many powerful princes to Protestantism. Furthermore, Luther's revolutionary zeal not only broke the undisputed power of the Catholic Church, but also heralded the possibility of a critical sensibility that questioned any form of absolutist rule. The Peace of Westphalia that had marked the end of the 30 Years' War in 1648 was followed by a multitude of wars that were increasingly disengaged from the empire. As individual principalities engaged in conflicts or otherwise signed treaties with states outside the empire. And next slide is Romanticism literature in several countries. Scotland, the lack or simulation or repression of Romanticism. The theme pervades the cultural history produced by Scottish critics. Indeed, it provides the historiographic crux of the modern nationalist analysis of Scottish literature. The Caledonian antithesi, or the diagnostic figure of a self-defined, internally contradictory national character. The schizoid figure of Romanticism negotiation is itself, of course, quintessentially romantic and typical of semi-peripheral national representation. From Hoffman and Hogg to Poe to Dostoevsky, what differentiates the Scottish from the English analysis is the insistent Scots identification of the nation as the excluded category that bears romantic value, that luminous condition exiled from normal history, authentic because of exile. Thus Edwin Muir, writing at the height of the modern nationalism renaissance in 1930s, identifies fatal dissociation sensibility in Scottish culture. Its primary symptom a linguistic split between thought, English the language of Enlightenment philosophy and feeling, Scots the language the folk and Burns lyric. A generation later, David Craig deplores Scotland's lack of a great tradition, the representation of an organic national society, so that its literature can only chart the widen ingulf between literary and populace. As Karen Craig has argued, such narrative create their image of a defied Scottish culture by projecting it against idealized English model, where adapts Eliot Kahn of English poetry with Scott in the place of Milton while David Craig draws Al Lewis. These models of a split tradition may yield different appraisal of particular figures. David Craig, example, joins in the mission to salvage an attractively bawdy, rough insurgent Barnes from the Victorian cult of sentimentality that had so exasperated Hugh MacDiarmid. This new model had Burns drawn by a woman novelist and critic, Catherine Carswell, in her 1930 biography of the poet, personified the masculine values of muscular assertiveness, virile heterosexuality, and horizontal brotherhood that typify emergent nationalism. More recently, in work that is beginning to transform our understanding of the period, scholars have recovered the context of a radical Burns' 18th century popular democratic politics. And this is the portrait of figures in Scotland. Several figures that contribute to Romanticism literature in Scotland. At the first picture, there is Alan Ramsay. And the second picture is Robert Burns. And the last picture is Walter Scott. This is the example of their project or their work from literature.
Hello, my name is Yahya Firdaus Purwita, and here I want to explain the next slide. So is Romanticism in Spanish. Romanticism in Spain, as in the rest of Europe, is part of a much larger historical process that set up the structures of market capitalism, the modernization state, and the form of thought and daily life that made them viable. It is by now a cliché that Romanticism was a response to such change. But we must recognize that it also promoted the ideological precondition, such as nationalism and individualism, that made those changes possible. Certainly, the participants in Spain's Romantic movement, which began in the 1830 and ended in the late 1640s, did not see themselves as agents of moral and now aesthetics. Juan Martínez Villegas, a politically radical Romantic writer, remarked in retrospect that Romanticism was essentially something more than a literary revolution. It was almost a social revolution. But as Jose Escobar pointed out, that the effort, almost with which Martínez Villegas restricts the semantic scope of the syntagma social revolution, signal the limits of Spanish Romanticism and those of the Spanish Revolution itself, and indeed the process that liquidated the ancient regime in Spain, took pressure by the course of European history, was slowed and attended by resistant internal social structure. The cultural aspect of this transformation, of which Romanticism was a component, was likewise sporadic, uneven, and incomplete. Portrait of figures in Spanish. Several figures that contribute to Romanticism literature in Spanish. So the first one, there is Rosalia de Castro, who wrote about loneliness, longing, and the pain of exile. And then the second is Gustavo Adolf Becker, a brilliant poet whose rhymes and leyendas blend beauty, sadness, and the supernatural. And then there is Augusto Ferran, who explored sorrow and the fleeting nature of life. And then in the next slide, there is example of Romanticism literature in Spanish. Romanticism in Poland. So Romanticism in Poland is often taken to begin with the publication of Adam Mickiewicz's first poem in 1822 and end with the crushing of the January uprising of 1863 against the Russians. It was strongly marked by interest in Polish history. Polish Romanticism revived the old Sarmatism tradition of the Szlachta or Polish nobility. Old tradition and custom were revived and portrayed in a positive light in the Polish Messianic movement and in works of great Polish poets such as Adam Mickiewicz, Julius Slowacki, and Zygmunt Krasinski. This close connection between Polish Romanticism and Polish history became one of the definition qualities of the literature of Polish Romanticism period, differentiating it from that of other countries. They had not suffered the loss of national statehood, as was the case with Poland. Influenced by the general spirit and main ideas of European Romanticism, the literature of Polish Romanticism is unique, as many scholars have pointed out, in having developed largely outside of Poland and its emphatic focus upon the issue of Polish nationalism. The Polish intelligentsia, along with leading members of its government, left Poland in the early 1830s during what is referred to as the Great Emigration, resettling in France, Germany, Great Britain, Turkey, and the United States. Portrait of figures in Poland. Several figures that contribute to Romanticism literature in Poland. So the first one, there is Adam Mickiewicz, author of Pentateuch, which tells the story of Polish heritage and identity. And then the second one, there is Julius Slowacki, whose work blend drama, patriotism, and spirituality. And then the next is Zygmunt Krasinski, who explored moral dilemmas and national suffering. There is example of Romanticism literature in Poland. I think that's all from movie. Thank you. Sorry if there is a bad word. If there is any question, you can comment in below.
Okay, thank you, and sorry if our pronunciation is still bad or something. And this is the reference that we use to look the data. And thank you.